I turned everything off.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know, you're everything falls.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, you want to get stupid.
I like the frozen weather.
Sounds like it's gonna be a slot paper tomorrow.
Yeah, night was freezing night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will call this joint session to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There is a council meeting, starts at 6, and we'll wrap up so they can get organized. First on our agenda is the joint minutes from 2005, December 8th. We've all been provided those minutes. From the commissioner standpoint, I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion?
No.
Those in favor, commissioners, say aye.
Aye.
The council needs to do the same. We need to approve and sign the joint minutes for 12/8/2025. I hear a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I got a motion, a second. Any discussion? If no discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Good. Second on our agenda is Natasha for E.M.S.
Good evening, all. Hopefully, everyone was able to look at the ambulances that we brought outside. Of course, the oldest addition was to the far right, and then the newest addition is veteran graphic. I would like to propose that we open bids for a 2028 ambulance, similar in style to the ambulances that were outside. I know that Ken had mentioned that he would like to see these types of things done as a joint session, so I figured if we open the bid now, the packet should be ready and available by the next joint session.
Have you had any conversation with the company that's doing the feasibility study or the survey for us about specs?
I have not. They have only received the preliminary report. It was about an inch thick binder that I sent to them, which you were CC'd on.
Right.
And I have not heard back from them yet.
I understand the need to do that, but I think going through the feasibility study, I think it might be good for them to help give some suggestions on specs for the ambulance.
In terms of like four-wheel drive or,
I think talk to them, they develop a list of specs. I'm sure they've had a lot more. They've had a lot of experience with that. That's my take on that. I think they're being paid. Hospitals helping with this survey, feasibility study. I think that it would be wise to ask them for some specs so give a good comparison. That's my opinion.
No, I think I would agree. I mean, we've got the, we're moving forward with this feasibility study and we're looking for input. We don't know what that input's going to be, so they may have a lot of, different ideas or options that are available for the E.M.S. And since it started, I think it'd be premature to start spending money that we're not sure that maybe we'll even need to spend, and if we will do differently, invest into a different vehicle that maybe we don't need a third full set of, I don't know what the scenarios are, but I think it'd be important to bring that information back before we start into a process that we may have to go a different direction in quickly.
so table this until April? Or do you want me just to go before the commissioners and then the council?
I would wait. When we met with them, Natasha, it did not seem like it was going to be a lengthy process for this survey or study to be done.
Okay.
So I would, and you're in constant communication with them on all of this. So I would agree. Ask them when it's gonna be done. I'm assuming it's gonna be done within 30 days would be my guess.
Wait, sound.
Right. And if that's the case, then I'm okay with you bringing it to commissioners and then council, whatever can get it done.
Natasha, would it be possible to ask them, like, maybe they know a better way to get an ambulance or a better company or help you get better bids and maybe use them, facilitate them to try and help you get the most bang for your buck?
We did go through the Sourcewell on our last truck, so that is the bare minimum bid that is allowed. So we do have a Sourcewell account at this time as well.
The source code account, aren't there different specs that you can provide?
Yes. They're only allowed to charge the minimum cost on the Sourcewell.
I mean, I guess my only question is, even if it waits till the next joint session, what harm is that going to do?
They're just about 3 years out on order, so I want to make sure that we're proactive. And I did want to respect the opinion of the board to come before everyone. So I figured since there's only a few.
I think coming from the joint session is the right place to have these discussions. And I guess for myself, I'd rather see it at our next meeting where we can see, hopefully by that time we'll have the survey. You can maybe have some documentation stuff for us to present what a new ambulance would cost, what it would look like, what some of the things are. That way we would be, we'd have that prior to the joint session. We can sit down and have a group discussion as to what direction is best.
I'm okay with that as well.
What else? Nice new ambulance today, very nice.
Very nice.
Dedication to veterans, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, very much so. Thank you.
And it will be available through the next meeting as well. So I will be here until the end of the council meeting.
I noticed that you did have some veterans sign the door. I assume that's open to anybody in the county that wants to come sign.
Yes, it's a veteran.
So, I mean, anybody that's a veteran that'd be interested, please come sign the door of the new ambulance.
And there is a staff member that is out there with the ambulance now that will facilitate the signing as well. So if anybody is listening to this meeting now, you're welcome to stop by until the end of the council meeting.
And it goes into service this evening, correct?
It does. It officially goes into service after the council meeting tonight.
You give a discount for the first ride?
I don't know if Medicare and Medicaid would allow that, but thank you. Thank you.
Okay, on the agenda for the council, that's the council's decision here. We have to recognize the resignation of the president, and we need to open a slate for a new president, and I would nominate Sheila as the new president. Is there any other nominations?
I'll nominate Brad.
I got a nomination of Sheila, and I have a nomination of Brad. Is there any other nominations? Well, without no more nominations, we'll close nominations. So we can vote. All those in favor of Sheila as president, raise your hand. We have 4 for Sheila. All those in Brad, raise your hand. 3. So Sheila, you're president.
Thank you.
Next is discussion, council commissioner appointment. I had typed a possible resolution and made it to the commissioners. If the council wishes to consider something like this, use this and you can send it in Word. The resolution is public advertising of board of commissioner appointments. In essence, to help develop a stronger pool of individuals, what we would do is we would ask that the commissioners are making appointments, that it would be advertised in the county newspapers, the official Pulaski County government website, at least one local radio station with broad community reach, the official Pulaski County social media platforms, and post it at the courthouse. And I assume that we can post those in front of the building. The public advertisement for any appointment must be run for a minimum of 21 calendar days. So in essence, the posting would be posted in 21 days. We'd only advertise in the newspaper once. Radio would go, and social media would be on there as well. For 21 days, giving 3 weeks. And then those that the commissioners would appoint, we would have a larger, hopefully a larger pool, because we'd be advertising this for 21 calendar days. So, comments, commissioners?
I think it's a great idea. We've heard from the public several times about all of these appointments and openings, and that people really don't know what's available. They don't know how to, or who to even contact. So I think they have something set, procedures, is in the best interest of everything. That's a lot of transparency as well.
The advertisement, each public advertisement shall include at a minimum the following: title of the board, a brief description of the body's purpose and responsibilities, specification of any required qualifications, expertise, or residency requirements, the term length and estimated time commitment, clear instructions on how to apply, including submission deadlines and required materials, a contact person of office for additional information. So really we're focusing on building inspector, building department, as well as
My board, probably, I imagine you'd also be looking at PETA-BOA, Board of Aviation Commissioners, Alcohol Beverage Control Board. There are quite a few.
And that being said, probably we need to reach out to, and I spoke with you about getting that full list earlier, or this past week, yeah, a few days ago, I guess. And we probably need to reach out to some of those boards and ask them for all of this, if they can write something up to give us the basics. Agree? And have them submit those, and then we can compile.
Don, are you envisioning using in the newspaper display ads, classified ads, or public legal notices that just come different cost structures, different layouts, and a display ad is going to cost a lot more, but you can use some graphics, make it a little more attractive.
I think it needs to be a little bit larger print, notice in the back of the notice. And I also think it would be beneficial to, we say 21 days, maybe more than 21 days, 60 days out, 90 days out, and advertise several at once so people can think of that.
It might be, 21 days of notice, but between the notice deadline and the actual appointment, you might want us to leave some time so that you can get recommendations from us. You can have your own conversations, and it's not like, hey, here's the people who applied and.
I just envision getting a larger base of people and not feel rushed to determine who it is.
And possibly appoint prior to the end of the year.
Oh, absolutely. That would be the appointment was January. It'd be nice to appoint someone in October.
It is nice.
If you can.
Yeah, you do run into the risk sometimes if you're expecting a changeover in the appointing body, especially like a majority changeover after an election, where you might make these appointments and 2 months later, people are not very happy with the people they're dealing with because they've got a different vision. But that's an issue I've had in the past, especially with some of my boards that have to meet in January and trying to get the appointment without upsetting incoming elected officials while making our statutory requirements.
Yeah. The sheriff merit board is that appointed to, not by us. We would have, that the sheriff is on the Indiana code, and the sheriff is taken care of. He gets 2 appointments.
I pick 2, the deputies pick 3.
So that's covered by Indiana code. We as council commissioners have nothing to do with
My question was, has our attorney had a chance to look this over and see what this is?
No, I haven't received it yet.
And we're not voting on it this evening, it's just putting it out there for the.
Yeah, I was just asking what y'all think.
No, I have, Don and I discussed its existence, but I haven't had a chance to review it.
Which is
Council-
another positive, I appreciate the, putting the resolution out, reading it to the public, and not making a decision on the first item, that's good.
Does the council have any questions, concerns, comments?
I think it's a great idea.
So that we can discuss it at our next meeting.
We'll send it, Jacob, I thought I emailed it to you, but I'll make sure you get it, and you can review it, and go from there. Thank you. Next item under discussion is the West Annex, which has been brought up before, that we as commissioners have asked Performance Services, which is a design build or design model type of organization, that does a lot of work for government entities, to look at our West Annex. They've also taken a glance at the East Annex to see if the West Annex can work to move the health department there, and keeping the E.M.A. coroner's office there, the health department, and Purdue Extension. They are thinking they took pictures originally, they came back and they've taken other pictures. They're also looking at the highway garage, the meeting room, just take a look at that. They're taking a draw of the pictures back, the 3D images they took, and they're having their engineers and architects look at that. They're estimating that it would be about a $2 million project to renovate the West Annex. That is a solid brick building. It looks very ugly on the outside with the blue, but it's a solid building with that. But they're analyzing that and going from there. There is a possibility that with what the health department needs, that it might not fit in there. It might not. And then, of course, they'll look at the East Annex. We had received a ballpark quote when all the agencies were over in the East Annex, approximately $1 million to put an elevator on the outside that was ADA compliant. But we'll ask them to look at that. They can give us support on that as well. But $2 million, that would be a council decision. No one's asking for decisions tonight. But for us to leave, we as commissioners discussed leaving the East Annex and going to the West Annex and getting the departments there, if we're able to move them all there. We're getting everyone in one location. We're reducing an older building. It's a beautiful building, historical, but it really is just not ADA compliant for the needs that we as a county have. With that, we've also discussed, and I've talked to the sheriff about this, dealing with animal control, building a permanent brick facility with X amount of dog runs and a place to put cats, putting the dogs inside. It's a good shelter for animal control, building that facility that, where the location that would be available for most residents for sure. We have no idea what the cost on that would be, but we will investigate that. So we'll have our own place for animal control. But thoughts on $2 million West Annex and moving our departments together, if possible, if the health department cannot fit in there, maybe renovating and building another facility that maybe will have other facilities in it as well.
Is that the 2 million plus $1 million for an elevator?
Yeah, the 1 million was separate.
Okay.
That is totally separate. And that was by a separate company, AJ,
Okay.
not Performance Services.
Okay.
That was when we were having, all the departments were over there, and we were having issues with the elevator and the.
Okay.
But performance did say, correct, if we wanted them to look at the east annex, they would be willing to go over and look at that one too for more money or just
Right.
include it in what they're doing.
With money, I'll also say performance services does not charge until we enter into an agreement to actually do something. So they are not charging us for these possible plans.
Question about that. I know there is some flexibility, but it's based on project costs. And I don't understand, I guess, what the incentive for this model is for them when any work we are going to do that's public works is going to have to go out to bid and there's going to be no guarantee. So to how much work are they, I guess, we can't go out to bid without drawings and without plans and specs. Somebody has to do them. If they do that, and they're not going to charge us into, they're just going to eat that time if somebody comes in as a lower and more responsible bidder? Is that how this works?
That's how it works.
Okay.
They put everything out to bid. We have the opportunity to reject any company to do that. We have that ability. There are no change orders.
That makes me nervous.
They work around the country. We've met them, they're around the country.
Look, I'm not a construction manager, but this county has put me in the position to learn a lot about this process over the last half decade. If they're doing this around the country, then I have to guess one of two things. Most likely what's happening is the bill gets padded because there isn't a contingency. And if they don't need that, the change orders are they're change orders without being change orders. And whereas in a project like what we've just done, every change order you approve, it comes out of the contingency and there's no padding that the construction company keeps at the end of the project because it's our money. Whereas if they say it's a $2,300,000 project and there's no change orders, theoretically, some of that, 5% of that's going to be contingency. And if they don't touch that, are they going to say, oh, we did it under? Or because we did change orders and we just didn't call them change orders, you're paying $2.3 million on a project that actually only costs them $2.1 million. That's my concern with a construction company that says they don't do change orders is that, especially, that building, it's got slab floor. What are they going to run into tearing into that, put in proper plumbing? I know the roof has been done, but there are still places where when we have ice issues, there's water coming in. That's just a building I'm afraid is going to be full of surprises. And the idea that there's no change orders makes me nervous that we're going to end up, there's a risk we're going to pay money we didn't need to because of how the contract is structured.
The beauty about this is we can run that construction. You fill that role as a construction manager, and that took away a lot of your responsibilities. In theory, it's probably over $100 million. Way over. $100,000, you're not even close to $1 million.
Well, so that's true, but the way the two projects we did, because we did the CMC project delivery, Ton and Blank was the construction manager and they were statutory limited to 20% cost of the actual work. So their job, there's no way if we had done design build, there's no way I could have been the county's point person on that because I don't have that expertise. But because we actually had a construction manager whose job was more so to keep all of the subs in line than to do the work themselves, I was able to run the project the way I did because they were doing all of the nuts and bolts. And in a situation with the design build, which they are our representative and the construction manager and the contractor, and we don't have that pushback. And I get it, people use them all the time, but when we're working with taxpayer money, design build generally concerns me because you've got the same firm doing the drawings and specs and the work. And there were times where Ton and Blank, so they're going to be this construction manager essentially.
So they bid out. So we need.
But even so, they're still going to be overseeing those companies. They're going to be responsible for the subs just the way Ton and Blank was. My point is that on these projects, we had two discrete teams. We had the design team and the construction team, and they were able to push back on each other as necessary. And if it weren't for Ton and Blank, we probably would have, there's probably $15,000 in design screw ups by the architect's MEP team that I sure as heck wouldn't have caught. And I wouldn't, and when they're on the same team, we have less of that checks and balances system in a design build process, and that concerns me.
I understand that concern. the checks and balances, I do.
They do a lot of work.
I know, I get that, and they may be entirely above board, but when there aren't checks and balances and it's taxpayer money, it concerns me a little bit.
The checks and balances come in, companies that come in. So we're looking at it, I think it's I personally think it'd be worthwhile to pursue that.
So, Don, are they gonna keep the same footprint of the building, or are they gonna add on to it?
I think it's the same footprint, but they might suggest to do something else.
Yeah, I think there is a little room on the north side that they could utilize.
We did discuss all the gravel out there,
Uh-huh.
asphalting all that, and we also discussed having an outside building built to put all the E.M.A. stuff in there. Because inside the building is just full of
Yeah, stuff.
what?
Oh.
And there's, as you know, there's no windows there,
Right,
and we thought we could put some windows in there so you can have some natural light.
sure.
So we're at the beginning stages. And we're bringing this up to the council for funding. We would have performance of services come and present and talk to us as this becomes a possibility.
Don, one other thought. You mentioned they took a quick look at the East Annex. They looked at the meeting room at the highway garage. I guess knowing the time that we put into the Justice Center and the courthouse and like kind of the big picture reasons behind that, whether it's performance services or somebody else, I feel like if we're going to go this far, we probably should have somebody look at all of our buildings. We know Natasha has talked about all of the problems in that building. And, you know, I don't know what other issues that are at Highway Garage, but if we're going to have them do this, why wouldn't we do like a comprehensive facilities master plan? And you know what, even if they say it's not worth the money to put an elevator into that building, they might be able to give us some good relevant information to help us when we're trying to dispose of it, to make sure that we're finding a good person who buys it or receives it from the county, and they have some helpful information in making that decision. So anything they might want to do to turn that building into a useful amenity in the county, they know what they're getting into. And, you know, we might find some surprises in what we actually have room for and where we need. And I'm thinking in that West Annex, all of those, like, I think auditor and assessor and whoever else files in that northeast corner are going to have to go somewhere else. And we're going to have to figure out what the best plan is for moving EMA and coroner out temporarily, because we probably, I don't imagine as we're tearing up slabs, we can have them in there. Probably need to make sure we have contingency plans for if the coroner has a case, what we're doing when, you know, her part of the building is being torn up. And so I kind of just wondering if we need to look like all of our buildings besides the courthouse and Justice Center, and maybe even the parts of the Justice Center that we didn't modify or add on to, because that building's 30 years old. And even if it's a 20-year program of improvements we're making, like, have everything in front of us for us. Because we have never, maintenance, they have their schedules for replacing filters and X and Y and Z and air conditioner maintenance, but I don't know that we've ever had like a master program to understand the issues with our facilities. Mike, were you on the council when we talked about buying the old blacksmith shop before it burned down, when John Frayne was coroner and asked about buying or leasing that? And we brought this up, and I was told by the then council president that we had a bad consultant on the UDO, or the original comprehensive plan, so maybe we shouldn't have help to do this. And I just feel like we've cost ourselves many years by not looking at all of our facilities at one time and mapping out what we should do to make sure that we're not, you know, for instance, replacing the jail roof 5 years after we put it on and saying, oh, you know what, we just sunk $2.5 million into the West Annex, and now the health department says it doesn't fit their needs anymore. I'm just concerned if we're going to sink money, and we should take advantage of the momentum to. The proposals are due at the end of this month. They've all gone out. The deadline for submitting questions to me and Carla has come and passed. We have to get those posted and answered on the website by the end of this week. And comprehensive plan proposals are due at the end of the last Friday of this month. I think it might be the 27th. But I think we should do something similar with our buildings. We don't necessarily have to put it out for, it's a professional service, so we don't have to put it out for proposals. If you want to do it with performance services, but maybe ask them to look at all of our buildings holistically and help us to make sure that by narrowing the focus on just a few spots, we're not missing something in the big picture.
That is in the comprehensive plan too.
No, it is not. We didn't, no. We originally had that conversation, but I never got the confirmation to do that. And it was going to be too messy finding a firm to specialize in planning, zoning, land use, all of that, who also would specialize in facilities.
I think I agree. I know one of our past commissioners and one of the past councilmen were looking at, not necessarily facilities, we're looking at equipment, trying to put in comprehensive plans and updates and stuff on that, and what we need to do. And I think it does. I think we had a lot of good discussion, but one thing that we didn't add into any of this conversation is we have a recycling center that needs a lot of help, that should be, we think about the buildings that, are focused in front of us because that's what we've been working with so much the last few years, but we have a recycling center.
Aviation.
We have a big piece of land out there where the old county highway used to sit. How does that fit into this plan? I mean, maybe instead of having, just setting the east annex, west annex, and, maybe have to get something else to build someplace else, maybe we have a spot right there that's ready, willing, and able to be utilized by the county, that's owned by the county. I don't know what the answers are, but I think there needs to be a bigger plan.
I'm very surprised. I thought the buildings were part of the comprehensive.
That was part of the original conversation, but by the time,
So why, Nathan, would we spend all this money on a comprehensive plan and not include?
because a comprehensive plan is an outward document and we're talking about an inward document. Those are objectives for the community. That is a plan for the community. This is a plan for the government. And while there's some overlap in the disciplines involved, what we need from a facilities plan is not the same skill set from the people who are going to put together a land use plan.
This would be a whole study with all of the facilities. I thought it was what we do right now. One. And two, I truly believe buying uses, savings in space, looking at two buildings, two departments over there, looking at the expense we have. Lastly, being compliant, looking at remodeling something that we have, appears to be solid. But I don't disagree with the facilities updating all of that. We believe it's, that it was back to one. We're in that process, and as I said, there's no cost. We're looking at that. We can have a conversation with them, that we can look at all of our facilities. I don't disagree with that at all. With that, I think it's the service we provide with the government units that do, and we have a great deal of experience. Any other comments from council or commission?
I don't have a comment or question about the West Annex, but I do have a comment or question about something completely different. Is it time for that or not yet?
Absolutely.
Okay. So there is a bill at the State House about township government, and it seems like it's having some forward traction. And I was wondering if the commissioners would be interested in having some sort of meeting with the commissioners, the council, the township trustees, possibly the town councils, to kind of start thinking about a plan about how we want to handle that bill, because it sounds like it's going to be consolidation of a township or two. So maybe we can have a proactive conversation about that before the bill gets passed and have everyone at the table that has a so that nobody's left out.
I think it'd be a great idea. The bill is currently there, what year is it? Is it 27 or 28?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it's the end of 27.
I think it is too.
I also think it's either another county, another used to absorb, or the county could absorb it, or another township.
That's the way I read it. So I think it'd be good to have some sort of conversation about this before a possible other county absorbs one of our townships. Okay. So I don't know if you guys want to try and think about that and maybe put a date or a plan together that would be in the best interest of everybody.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we met earlier, last 25, some of those these bills. I thought that worked out well for everyone. Good idea.
Thanks.
Are there any other items for the joint session? Anything else? Is there anyone for public comment for the joint session? You only have a few minutes. Please state your name, your residence, and please limit your comments to 2 minutes.
Hi, I'm Kayla Stukowski, the only reason I'm commenting is because the two bills about the townships, House Bill 1315 is township dissolving, and you were asking about the dates. So their imminent date is to have information by June 1st of this year. Senate Bill 270 it's over in the House right now. It's actually going to committee tomorrow morning. And it, as of right now, is in 2028, but I have a feeling there is an amendment in there to go to 2029. So just some information for you. That's all I have for that. House Bill is 1315. 1315.
Has the House bill made it to the Senate?
It is across
So
to
they
the
both
Senate.
flip-flop?
They have both flip-flopped.
Okay. So see if-
Yes. Mm-hmm. So,
We organized that meeting that I was referring to.
yeah. So my goal the last couple years is trying to get the townships organized because this has been coming. I mean, I think they've talked about townships dissolving for decades, way before I've been here. But there's a lot of motion, especially with the new governor and trying to get some consolidation down. So my goal is with the townships trying to meet. We've had some good meetings, a couple of them. I have a group email that we're trying to, communicate through all this information because there's a lot of changes. So, yeah. Thanks.
Anyone else?
Brady Larkin, Winnemac. I just want to thank you for the public reading and the discussion. That is very much so appreciated, as well as the proactive advertising of open positions to allow more community members to contribute to positive progress in Pulaski County. Really appreciate seeing that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is James Failer, and I know in the next meeting coming up, you guys are going to be discussing Pulaski County E.M.S. wages, and I would just like strongly ask you guys to not take away any of their pay in any way. In our county here, if you compare it to other counties nearby, they're already paid less than them. I work with them as a first responder on a volunteer department, and I've got the privilege of working with Pulaski County E.M.S. and also Madereville also responds to a lot of Jasper County calls. The quality of service that our county presents is far superior. And I just, please ask you guys, wouldn't it be good to cut their wages in any way? It's just not a right thing to do, especially this time and age. Everything's getting more expensive. It would just be quite a slap in the face to them. So just mainly addressing the council with this, please, with the next session coming up. should really ask you guys to think of them and their families and not to cut their wages. That's it.
Anyone else? Motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Motion is second for commissioners to adjourn. Those in favor say aye. Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.